Hey, Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now. It is official. It is time for a 7-round mock draft. Yes, you guys have been asking for it. Thomas, where's the 7-round mock draft? Thomas, why are we doing a 3-round mock draft? We're doing it today. The trade happened yesterday. I'll mention that. We're jump into a 7-round mock draft. First, though, of course, be sure to subscribe because this will not be my only 7-round mock draft. I'm going to do another one maybe next week and maybe each week leading up to the NFL draft. So down below and hit the red button. All right, let's take a big picture, then work our way in. Of course, we are less than a month. I mean, we are a couple of weeks away from the April 28th NFL draft, and night one will still be electric for the Philadelphia Eagles, despite the fact they traded away one of those first-round draft picks. Now, we'll look at that in a second. Let me just explain, though, how this mock draft works. This is not me saying, oh, I want this guy in round 2, I want that guy in round 4, and that guy in round 7. I'm using the Pro Football Network's mock draft simulator. So I go to the profootballnetwork.com, you guys can too, and I use their picks to base my picks off of. So the players that are available in the mock draft are where I go. Now, does that mean that it's 100% accurate to what will actually happen in the draft? No, of course not. But this is a very good representation of what might happen, especially in round 1. All right, the Saints trade, of course, with Philadelphia yesterday has changed up the Eagles' overall draft picks. A lot of people complaining on Twitter. If you can't see why this was a great move for Philadelphia, I can't help you. I mean, they got so many additional picks. Yes, you got rid of one pick. You still have 15. You still have 18 in the first round. And you get another first next year. You get an additional second. You get more, 2024 gets another pick. I mean, this was a great move. But right now, Philadelphia 2 in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the third. You get a 4th-round draft pick at 124 overall. 3 in the 5th. They're going to trade some of those up and down. They're for sure going to take not all 5 there. And then, of course, now 1 in the 7th round. So none of the 6th, but 1 in the 7th round at 237 overall. So the important point, ammo. Still plenty of it, not only in this draft and future drafts, and we're going to go ahead and use these picks to pick some players in today's 7-round mock draft. Add a break, pin, comment down below before we start. Who do you want the Eagles to take in round 1 following the Saints trade and giving Philadelphia only 2 first-round draft picks? Who do you want? Let me know down below right now in the comment section. As you always do to start with our first pick, here were the previous 5 according to the mock draft simulator. The Jets took Garrett Wilson at number 10. The Commanders took Jameson Williams at number 11. The Vikings took Derek Stingley there at number 12. Kenny Pickett became a Houston Texan at 13. And Ikwonu went ahead and went number 14 overall, meaning Philadelphia didn't have a lot of options there. There were a lot of the good players that, of course, I would like to have had, cornerbacks, wide receivers that were already gone. And so I settled with the 15th overall draft pick on Jermaine Johnson, the defensive end out of FSU. Now, we talked about him a lot in really recent mock drafts, and at one point he was a top probably 30 pick in the draft. Now he's a top 15. I mean, this guy's going to go very, very early. With Trayvon Walker out of UGA seemingly being a first-round draft pick in the top 10, this means that Walker is probably the next likely guy to go ahead and go off the board, hence why he falls to 15 for Philadelphia. Now, they don't technically have to get a pass rusher this early. It's just a luxury pick, and this is something that Philadelphia, maybe not a luxury pick, it's a pick that is a no-brainer. You can never have enough pass rushers. And Brandon Graham, he's not getting any younger. And Jermaine Johnson was an absolute stud his senior year at FSU. And so as you go through this NFL mock draft, you will see that the focuses have changed a little bit on where I want to go. Now, I know I've talked about how this is not the biggest need that the Eagles have had, but you still are adding to an already very good defensive line. With Johnson in the mix, this is an elite defensive line. I mean, you're talking about a top 5 defensive line in the NFL. And as we saw with the teams that made it deep in the playoffs this past year, especially the Rams, pass rush wins championships. It is the most important position minus the quarterback, and so I will go ahead and add to it by taking Jermaine Johnson at number 15 overall. Now, I thought about wide receiver here. Drake London was available at 15. Does Howie go with Drake London in this spot? I don't know. I did not, but I'll let you guys decide. Would you rather go with wide receiver or defensive end at number 15? Let me know down below right now. DE for defensive end, WR for wide receiver, because I get the argument if you wanted London or you wanted Treylon Burks, both of which were available at 15. All right, our new pick, 18 overall, via the Saints. You know where I'm going with this. It's Devin Lloyd. And I cannot pass up on taking Devin Lloyd. And again, thought about wide receiver here. But we're talking about getting the best overall linebacker in this draft, one of the best linebackers to come out of the NFL draft in a very long time, an instant stud, an instant playmaker, an instant starter, and as you see, we've helped the defense. The offense was pretty good last year. They still need wide receivers, and we'll address that. Sit tight, hang on. But defense is really the issue. They couldn't get stops in key moments. Go back and put on the Buck film, and they got absolutely obliterated defensively by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now they have a star pass rusher to add to already, Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox. Now they get a star linebacker in a core that is very average right now. Now, it's not terrible, but it also could very much see and indeed need the improvement to a guy like Devin Lloyd, who comes in, he's your middle linebacker, he starts, and then you can go ahead and kind of see who you want to play on both sides of the football, whether White's on one side, whether Sean Bradley gets into the mix a little bit, whether Davion Taylor plays a little bit more. Either way, this becomes a very good linebacking core instantly with the addition of Devin Lloyd. So So, first two picks, Jermaine Johnson at 15 and Devin Lloyd there at 18. We kill with the draft with our first two here on today's video. Now, more draft coverage as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft. It is April 5th, meaning we're very close. I cannot wait. Full coverage here on Chat Sports. You guys saw yesterday whenever went ahead and did my video in the morning, and then Chase went ahead and jumped on in the afternoon because we had the breaking news, want to get the video out, and so that's how we cover it here on the channel. As soon as stuff happens, whether myself or other people within our company are going to go ahead and get stuff done for you, so subscribe down below for the latest coverage. All right, let's go to the second round. 51 overall. This was tough because there were some really good wide receivers here. But again, I went pass rusher. And you say, Thomas, why do you need David Ojabo? You just got Jermaine Johnson. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Again, what did I say earlier? The most important position in the NFL, besides quarterback, is pass rusher. And Brandon Graham is very easily, he still can be good this year, but he's definitely in the twilight. And we're talking about 1 to 3 good years left at most. And that's, double-digit sacks. Is it? Maybe not. Ojabo, we talked about it. Once considered a top 15 overall draft pick. Tears the Achilles the Michigan Pro Day. He will fall in this draft. They put the timeline on his recovery to 6 months, probably a little bit longer than that. But because you got Johnson, there's no rush on getting Ojabo onto the football field. But just imagine this young core of Johnson, right? Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick, and then you go and throw in David Ojabo when healthy. That's 4 very good pass rushers. And that's not even counting interior guys like Milton Williams or potentially Brandon Graham for another couple of years. You are really making this defensive line one of the scariest in the NFL. So I know you need a wide receiver, and we'll talk about that in just a couple of seconds. But David Ojabo was there at 51, and I went ahead and snatched him up because I think Philadelphia loves him, and I think they would take him if he's there at round 2. All right, now, let's amend for my sins. I'm not taking a wide receiver, which I said was one of the most important positions you need to address in previous videos. We finally do it here at 83 overall in the 3rd round with Jalen Tolbert, the wide receiver out of South Alabama. I think this is a great mock draft to show you how the Eagles can still be fine at wide receiver without going big at wide receiver early. Because we all think they will go, and I think that they probably will go early at wide receiver, but you could wait till the 3rd round and get a guy like Tolbert who has great size, he has great speed, and will simply slide in the draft to the 3rd round because he played at South Alabama. That's the only reason. If this guy had played at USC, or he had played at South Carolina, or he had played at Alabama, he'd be a first-round draft pick. He's just that good. And so, you look at the numbers from 2021, and that further echoes the fact that this guy can play at the next level and would be a great addition to Philadelphia. 1,474 yards, 18 yards per catch. I know that he played at South Alabama. My cousin goes to South Alabama. I've been to that school. It's very small, right? And so, again, who did he play against? How great were the corners that he played opposite of him in every single game? Not an issue here because you spent a 3rd-round draft pick on him. I think Philadelphia greatly improved their wide receiver core right here by taking Tolbert. Now, I will ask you this. Did I wait too long to get a wide receiver? Waited till the 3rd round. And I know how important it is to get a receiver. If I waited too long, that'll be the biggest critique. That's fine. Type Y down below for yes. Type N down below for no. If you think I did wait too long, I have another pick for you, because right back here in the 3rd round at 101 overall, I took another wide receiver, Wan'Dale Robinson, the wide receiver out of Kentucky. Now, this is, for all intents and purposes, the next Deebo Samuel. This guy's legit. And again, he played at Kentucky, even though it's an SEC school, it still is one of the lesser SEC schools that you yourself probably didn't watch a lot of games of this year. Maybe Kentucky versus Florida was the one that I went ahead and watched. You go through the film on, though, of Robinson, a legit threat in terms of not only a deep threat, he can run the football like Deebo Samuel does. He said he wants to mimic his game after Deebo Samuel. He can return kicks, great breakaway speed. This is a great pick. And again, I go back-to-back on wide receiver to amend for the fact that I didn't take him in the first 2 rounds. Look at this depth chart. Let's just imagine you get Tolbert and Robinson, and now you add this depth chart. So you have Devontae Smith, you have Tolbert, you have Robinson, you have Watkins, right? You have Zach Pascal. You have Rager, if he does anything ever in his career. This would be a legit young wide receiver core. And again, young is the issue, and you'd like to have a seasoned veteran like an A.J. Green mixed in there, although unlikely. But to me, this does definitely make up for the fact Philadelphia did not address it in my draft earlier on. I'm a big fan of Robinson, and I think he can become a really good player. All right, we'll get into the 4th, 5th, and 6th rounds here coming up in just 1 second. First, be sure to check out our friends at BetUS. Did you win any money in March Madness? If you did not, well, the Masters is next. Well, after this week, it's coming up in 2 days. You want to bet on the Masters? Do it with our friends at BetUS. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code is Eagles125. Get you a 125% deposit bonus whenever you first sign up. Now, not just for the Masters. Baseball starting up again. You want to bet on the Phillies. Obviously, anything going on really in the world of sports, you can bet on with a BetUS. So jump into that right now. Chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Eagles125. All right, 4th pick, 124 overall, Nick Cross, the safety out of Maryland. Now, I don't think Cross is going to fall this far because depending on where you read, he's really a top 3 safety in this draft, maybe a top 4 safety in this draft. I think he's probably more of a 3rd round guy, but he was there, and you're talking about great size and speed. I don't know if he can play week 1, but I do think he can be a starter in this league, and they obviously need help at safety position because as you look at the depth chart, it's not that great. You keep, Tyrann Mathieu, maybe they'll sign him. Well, as of today, he's been visiting with the Saints, so it seems unlikely that they're going to have to go with Kayvon Wallace or Marcus Epps as their backup, or they re-sign Ryan McLeod, who knows. But regardless, I think adding another safety to the mix is important, and so Cross, whether he's there or not, it was there in the 4th round of my mock draft, we went ahead and took him. All right, how about a wild card? You gotta make some wild card picks. And here's my big wild card pick. 5th round, 154 overall. Tyquan Thornton, the wide receiver out of Baylor. Now, as you know, I went to Baylor, and I've seen Tyquan Thornton up close, and let me tell you, he's fantastic. And again, had he gone to a different school, he would have been very much up there in the first couple of rounds of the NFL draft. He is the best wide receiver to come out of Baylor in a long time, and there have been some good ones. Most recently, Denzel Mims, a 2nd-round draft pick at the Jets just a couple of years ago. He's a go-get-it kind of receiver, a jump ball guy, but he also has speed. I mean, he can 100% get by players, and so again, I'm trying to make amends for not taking wide receiver early by giving you 3 options in this draft to where at least one of them has got to be good. And if all 3 become good, then you have way too many and you can trade one away. Tyquan Thornton, he is fantastic. He will fall in the draft because of where he played, but I think this would be a very, very good addition for Philadelphia and one of those, roll the dice guys that could become elite by taking him in the 5th round. All right, we're staying in the 5th round with our second pick in round 5, 162. How about Hassan Haskins, the running back out of Michigan? Now, do you need a running back? Technically, no. Technically, no. But he is this bruiser type with also some elusive speed. He can hurdle over you, and I think what about replacing Jordan Howard? Because Jordan Howard has some clutch runs in important positions, and it doesn't feel like they're going to bring him back because they re-signed Boston Scott. And so here's a guy who had 20 touchdowns at Michigan last year, gets overshadowed because, there are a lot better running backs. Kenneth Walker out of Michigan State, Isaiah Spiller out of Texas A&M, Breece Hall. But this is definitely somebody who you spend a 5th-round draft pick, don't expect a lot, don't pay a lot, but get a young running back who maybe can become good, maybe not. But again, we're in the later rounds of the NFL draft, and so it's kind of, up in the air if they're actually going to be good or not. You guys have a top late round draft target? Mine is probably Tyquan Thornton because I think late round is 5th round and beyond. But give me your thoughts on a late round draft target down below in the comments section. I know you got somebody. Maybe they went to your school. Let me know who that is. All right, final pick in the 5th round, second to last. How about Akil Glass, the quarterback out of Alabama A&M? Now, they don't need a quarterback, technically, because Jalen Hurts is going to be the quarterback, and they have that second first-round draft pick next year to, draft Bryce Young if you needed to. But I do think that this would be an intriguing prospect to go ahead and add to the backup role because the Eagles really don't have a backup quarterback. Now, Gardner Minshew is still on the roster, but a trade could happen with him in training camp if there were to be an injury to another starting quarterback in the NFL. So a backup makes sense. 6'4", 233. Again, played at a different school. We were talking about him a lot earlier in the NFL draft, but it's Alabama A&M, and so he's going to slide a lot. Might even be undrafted, so I might have overdrafted him. But taking a quarterback, I think does make sense. I think they will do it, but it'll just be later on and be very clearly a backup. All right, final pick here. Let's go ahead and get this done to the 7th round, 237 overall. Again, we're closing our eyes and throwing a dart at a dartboard because who knows in round 7. How about Christopher Allen, an Alabama outside linebacker who is one of those former 4-star recruits who was going to be really, really good, and then got injured a bunch, and then there were better pass rushers in front of him, and so he just kind of fell a little bit. He's an outside linebacker, but he really more is one of those pass rushing outside linebackers, although has had some success in coverage. I think that, again, in the 7th round, you don't really know who to take, and he makes some sense for me and would fill a need for Philadelphia. All right, let's go ahead and go through them. Again, I think this is a pretty darn good draft. I think if this was what they would do, this would be an A+, but the odds of all these players being there aren't necessarily great. So anyway, Jermaine Johnson, round 1. Devin Lloyd, round 1. Ajabo, I think a big steal in round 2. And then we go crazy at wide receiver. Jalen Tolbert out of South Alabama, and Wan'Dale Robinson there in round 3. Nick Cross to add a needed safety and some depth. Tyquan Thornton, my dark horse, late round draft pick. Hassan Haskins, the 20-touchdown running back from Michigan. Akil Glass to be a backup quarterback, and Christopher Allen, the pass rusher out of Alabama. A lot of picks, and a lot can happen. And even though they got rid of one of them, they still have a lot of ammo to make some big moves. Grade my mock draft down below. I think an A+ is too generous. I think this is fantastic. And I know we're going to debate about it the first round, and you guys can do that in the comments section, but grade my mock. I think this is pretty good. What actually happened, though, is up to really Howie Roseman, which is kind of a scary thought. Either way, we go ahead and end today's video. Follow me on Twitter, and also subscribe down below for more plenty of latest news and rumors and draft coverage. If you guys like the channel, go ahead and hit that red button. For Philadelphia Eagles now, I'm Thomas Mott. Here's your 7th round mock draft. Hope you enjoy. Signing off for the rest of your day.